That's right where I go. So I think, whoa, hi. Oh, okay, we're gonna have a problem. Come sit. Sit. Good girl. Okay. This is a booger. She is extra needy lately. All right, you want to be up here for this, then I'll let you be up here for this. But you gotta be good. Okay? Look at the camera. Look at the camera. Put your paws down there. All right. See if I can hold you and do this. I don't know if I can. Hello and welcome to The Knitted Bean. My name is Echo and I will be your host today. The Knitted Bean is a nitty, nerdy, and sometimes sweary podcast with a side order of fanfic or media or whatever else I want at the end. I'm coming to you from Montana, where I live with my husband and my Boston Terrier Lugnet. Say hi, Lugnet. And it has been a while, you guys, which I will endeavor to catch you up on. This might be a long one, or it might not. It just depends on how hard words are for me today. So if you've been here before, you know it's been a really long time, and I'm going to attempt to get back into the swing of things. If you haven't been here before, welcome to this whole experience. I am a nitty nerdy pushing 40 crafty disabled queer person who likes to chat at a camera. Used to be every other week, but lately it seems more like once every 3 weeks or every month, and this time I think it's been like 6 weeks. So I'm going to sit here and I'm going to tell you about my life, and I'm going to tell you about what I've knit, and I'm going to show you what I've sewn. I'm not going to go super in depth into that because I don't want this to turn into a sewing podcast, but also I think a lot of people who knit also enjoy other crafts. So I'll show things, I'll mention the patterns, but I'm not going to like go into mass detail. If you have questions on things that I've sewn, feel free to drop them in the comments below and I will endeavor to answer about like modifications and things like that I've done to them. So if you're looking for me on the internet, you can find me on Instagram as The Knitted Bean, on Ravelry as The Knitted Bean, and on Ko-Fi as The Knitted Bean. You can also email me at knittedbean@gmail.com. Or you can like, subscribe, or comment below this video. I do make every attempt to respond to all my comments. So, you know, come say hello. All right, so a little bit of admin. The Inclusion Mal 2022 is over. I have drawn prize winners. I have contacted all of those prize winners, and I have heard back from all 4 of those prize winners. So I'm super excited to get those out in the mail. I haven't gotten them out yet, but I do have them separated out. So we're getting there. Guys, you gotta bear with me. My brain is not. So it's a thing. I keep putting it on my list, and yeah, I'm gonna have to like package one day, go get the customs forms another day. Like, but they will get to you. Don't fear not. They will get to you. I'm so excited. And actually 2 of the people who won were actually prize donors. So I'm really excited. I need to swap it up and make sure that nobody gets their own thing back. That said, I will list the winners here if I can find them. So we had Benta from Arctic Crafts. She won. This was her winning entry. And then we have Yarn, and this was their winning entry. And Yarn was the one who donated the knit and crochet patterns, the book. And then we have Robin, who is one half of Happy Sheep, Grumpy Llama. Happy Llama, Grumpy Sheep. I'm sorry, you guys. Brain. Anyway, this is what Robin won with. And then lastly, we have Amy Knits Things. That is what Amy Knits Things went with. So that was 2 from like the chatter / FO and 2 from the finished objects, and 50-50 between Instagram and Ravelry, which I really like to do it that way. I'm so excited. You guys are gonna love your shit. And speaking of prizes, I did the test knit for Anina. This glorious pattern, which was the Paju pullover, which I can't wait to wear when it's just a teensy bit cooler, because this is like real wool. It's not super washed. I'll roast right now. And in talking to them, I'm gonna give away a pattern for this, you guys. So, I think let's do comment below and just use the word pullover. I don't care how you use it, just use it. And that will enter you to win a copy of the Payu pullover. This is got a ton of sizing, so it will definitely fit you. And it's a wonderful, classy pattern, you guys. It's got miles of popcorn knitting, TV knitting, mindless stockinette, whatever you want to call it. And then it has these super cool twisted stitch single cable details on the hems. They're not hard to do. I've never done them. I also had never cabled without a cable needle, and I learned how to do that. So very easy. Absolutely could be a beginner pattern. The other cool thing about it is that it has a like tailored raglan. Very good for the chesty of us. So that will be like the welcome back to getting back on your game podcast giveaway. Also, she has put out a bunch of patterns recently, and she's running a sock knit along coming up soon, so please go check her out. She has her own podcast, which I'll link below, and has just a bunch of really neat patterns, so go check her out. Her name is Anina Juti, or Uti, probably Uti. What else? Oh, as always, we have our knotty knitting sacks. Oh, what is that called? Discount code. You guys know I love my knotty knitting sacks. So Katie has given us a code. It is, told you my brain don't work anymore. Bean 15. You would think I have that memorized, and I did until recently. It is Bean 15. Which will get you 15% off at her Etsy shop, so go check her out. What have you guys all been up to? It's been half a summer. I feel bad. I felt bad for like, I don't know, 3 weeks. I did forewarn that last time that it would be like 3 weeks until I got back to podcasting, because I was having my birthday and having company out, which is a lot of stress on my body because I can't sustain a lot of activity without typically getting sick, which definitely happened. But I did not intend to be gone for a month and a half. Things happened. I did get sick, and things just kind of snowballed. There's been a lot going on, some of which I will talk about towards the end, just in case it gets me worked up. So, in that 6 weeks, I have so many thoughts, you guys, and it's going to be a long intro rant, so I'll put, I say rant, it's not going to be a rant. I'll put in timestamps in case you don't want to hear, like, you know, what the fuck I've been up to for 6 weeks and my thoughts on everything in the world. So feel free to, like, you know, skip past my personal blog here if you're not interested. But, you know, a lot has happened in our world. A lot has changed in our world. I'm not going to get super political, but I feel the stress. Yeah, I mentioned that I'm a queer person. I feel a lot of the stress of like, I don't want to quite say bigotry, because that's, yes, a lot of bigotry exists, but that's not quite like the feel that I am getting the stress from, but more intolerance is the word I think that I'm looking for. I'm always really big on everybody is welcome here. We're here to knit. Let's have a lot of fun. And that's like the space that I create for myself online, is everybody's welcome. It's a sex positive place. It's a gender affirming place. It's a sexuality affirming place. It's a, if you are a cis straight white woman, you are welcome here. If you don't identify with any gender and have any combination of genitals, you're welcome here. I really don't care, because that's not what it's about, right? But I feel like the world outside of my little internet bubble does not meet my expectations or hopes or wishes for that anymore. I mean, I could say ever, but like, I felt for a long time it was moving in the right direction, and now I kind of feel like it, not, how did a friend of mine put it, we haven't just stalled, but now we're starting to backslide. And I said, I feel like I'm not backsliding. I feel like I'm rolling down the mountain at a high speed. And some of that could be where I live and things like that. But just, I feel like it really cramps my style, guys. I'm gonna get upset about this, I can tell. I feel like it really cramps my style. I feel like there's been a lot of restrictions placed on women lately. I feel like there's a lot of restrictions placed on queer people in general, all-encompassing label there lately, and I just don't feel welcome. And it's so frustrating, because I know that there are lots of people out there who welcome me with open arms. But that's not how I feel about my society. Ooh, I am gonna get really upset, damn. Didn't plan on hitting such a hard point for myself. And then also, health-wise, I just, hot damn, I've been struggling, and that's a whole other issue. I've been very open with my brand new and joyful struggles with aphasia, and it sounds better, but it's not better. It sounds better because I've been going to speech therapy, and I love my speech therapist. He's wonderful and very, he works with me really well, and what I can and can't tolerate as far as like amount of daily activities, brain-wise, etc. And I've started to do a lot of accommodations, is not the right word, but like adaptations. Like, I've adapted a lot, and a lot of that was stuff that I was starting to do on my own, and then we've like piled onto that and built on that. And so I do a lot of visualization in my head when I can't remember a word, to help me remember the word, like put myself back in a situation where I knew the word, things like that. I also am struggling tremendously with memory problems, and it's really hard for me. I never imagined that I would be in a place in my health before I hit 40 where it's questionable if I'm safe to cook at home alone, because will I remember to turn the stove off or not? So just know that, like, if you're out there and you are, I don't even know, like sub 60, and you are suffering with some form of disability that is maybe not as visible as, say, being an amputee, or having had a stroke where you have visible droop or something like that, and you are facing the barrage, because I'm well aware that it is, of people around you who are just like What the hell is wrong with you, and why can't you just go to work or get a life? Or I literally cannot even remember the things right now, but you know what I mean? Like, how come you can't just function? You look totally healthy. Or, well, you would just be able to function just fine if you just lost 100 pounds. You're just fat. Yeah, no, really? Being fat is not why I can't remember if I turn the stove off when I cook. Thanks. Neurology confirms that. You're not a doctor. You know, and just know, like, if you're that person, you're out there and you feel like you're younger, whatever younger is defined as for you, and you're like, hot damn, I really never expected that I would be in this situation where you feel like people are judging you for not being able to do things that you really fucking wish you could do. Know that I feel you, and I'm there with you, and, you know, they shouldn't be judging you, but they're going to. And we just have to accept that, you know what, not everybody in the world is a nice person. Some of them have their own issues that they should just really go to therapy for. And maybe they will and maybe they won't, but they're not our problem. It's not our circus and they're not our monkeys. So it's just been a really rough 6 weeks, you guys. Obviously. And yes, I could cut all this out and I could just be like, I'm perfect, I'm fine, life's great, but that's not really me. That's not really what's going on. That's not really why I haven't been here in 6 weeks. So, suck it the fuck up. This is what you get. If you don't like it, there's a timestamp. You can skip it. If you just want to see my knitting and you don't give a shit about my life, skip it. But yeah, like, it's been so fucking hard, you guys, and it's so annoying. Obviously I've been to innumerable doctors, innumerable specialties, innumerable therapies, and I have some adaptations in place to make it like as safe and as good for me as I can. I did cook by myself yesterday, and I literally have a sticky note that I write, turn the stove off when I cook, and I stick it on the stove, and then I cook, and hopefully that bright yellow tag there reminds me that when I'm done cooking, I need to turn the stove off and get rid of the note before I leave the house so I don't burn the house down. I'm not, you know, I mean, it is what it is. My husband has a job. It's the only way we can pay the mortgage, so most of the time when he's not home, I use the microwave, but it just so happened yesterday that I was being nice and taking dinner out to him because he was going to be working, like, he left at like 6 in the morning. He wasn't going to come home until 9 at night, and he works an hour away, and so I was going to drive out to him, which also was like the furthest I've driven by myself in at least a year. So that was a fun challenge too. I took the dog. It was great. Yeah, it's so hard. And the therapies and stuff are great. Like, they do work really hard with me. I literally live out of a notebook now, in which I put everything I have to do for the day. Like, if I want to wind yarn for a project, I need to put it on lists, or I'm probably not going to remember it until like 1 a.m. and then I'll be like, oh, damn, I wanted to wind that up. Or did I do my speech therapy today? Do I have a doctor's appointment today, or I will miss my doctor's appointment? Do I need to clean out the fridge? And then when I go to a doctor's appointment, what all do I need to talk to them about? Because I don't remember. So, yeah, it's just really rough. But it is what it is. In all of that, another thing that has really sucked is, I've talked before about fat bias in medicine, and I just want to make it clear straight up front, like I've been with my doctor for a really long time, more than a decade, and I really like her, and I think that she's a very intelligent person, but no one is immune, okay, to their own internal biases. And because they're an internal bias, people don't really recognize what they are. And I've talked to her before about, like, I feel like there's a little bit of fat bias with this, like, whatever problem we're dealing with, and just kind of been a little like, oh, I don't really think that's the problem. And I'm like, okay, but I do, and like also other people in my family go to you and they also kind of feel like they have that same problem. And you know, I started taking my husband to my appointments with me because frankly, if you have a dick in the room, you magically get shit done when you go to the doctor, which is another internal bias. Men, quote unquote, toxic masculinity, men are taught not to complain. So doctors inherently learn if a man is complaining, it must be a really big problem, right? So when my husband goes with me to the doctor and says, I think my wife had a stroke, shit happens. We get MRIs, we get da-da-da-da-da-da. It could be the same symptoms that I've been complaining about for 18 months. But when he goes in and he's like, I feel this is a real problem, and so I started taking him with me, which is hard for me to do anyway, because I am not a big, you would never know from the fact that I'm on here yapping about my life, but I'm not a big, like, bring people into my personal life. And like, I can choose what I share with you about my doctor's appointments. I can't do that if I take somebody to my doctor's appointment with me. They're gonna hear everything we talk about, whether it's about my, you know, female plumbing or about me being fat. And I obviously don't care if we talk about me being fat on here because I do it all the time, but like there are other things that we talk about that I don't bring here because it's none of your all's business. But so I took a big leap and I started taking him to my appointments, and obviously shit happened. So we still have no idea why I have aphasia, probably because it took me 6 weeks to go in to the doctor after my husband started noticing that it was a real problem. And part of the reason that it took me so long is because I said, why bother going in? They aren't going to do anything anyway. I have brought up X, Y, and Z problems in the past and nothing has happened. Why would this be any different? And that's fat bias. When I brought up X, Y, and Z problems, nothing really big was done about it and it wasn't investigated. So I assume that when I bring up the fact that it seems like maybe I had a stroke, that nothing will be done about it. And I'm wrong. That's me. I'm wrong. Yeah, they're gonna do something about it. They're gonna do something about it faster because I brought a dick with me. But also the medical system is wrong because I brought up 3 complaints previously and they didn't address them, and that's what taught me that. So my husband went to appointments with me for basically over the summer, and he was like, I really, you know, think this is a problem, and he started just randomly sending me articles on fat bias in medicine, and I'm like, why are you telling me this? I already know. I'm glad you've noticed, but I'm not illiterate about this. And he's like, I really want you to talk to your doctor about this. So at my last appointment, I did bring it up, and we had a good long talk, and at first it was that same like, well, this isn't really a problem. I do whatever. And I was like, well, the reason I'm bringing it up is because he told me to, because he noticed it. And as soon as I was like, you know, somebody else in the room, a third observer, noticed it, she was really taken aback and was like, oh, okay, I see. Well, here's what it could be, that, you know, I do these things and that's perceived as fat bias. Not quite admitting that it's fat bias, but really it is. And we're gonna change things in this way to try, you know, to circumvent that. And I'm fine. She doesn't need to admit that it's an internal bias that she can't acknowledge because she doesn't know it's there. And maybe over time she'll come to that ability. But the important part is that, like, having brought it up and made it aware, we're going to change how we do things, right? And one of the things that we're going to change is she had put me on a weight loss med for 3 months, which really affected my concentration and my knitting, in that I did as much knitting in the week after I stopped the med as I did in the last month and a half that I was on it. That's how hard it made to concentrate. And it didn't actually make me lose any weight. It wasn't serving any purpose because I don't overeat. Appetite is not my problem. So, in fact, appetite is my problem in a whole other way, which is why I'm drinking a protein coffee right now. Where was I going with that? Oh, okay. Anyway, so we changed up my meds, and like, boom, my knitting mojo is back after being completely dead for 6 weeks. I would frequently go an entire week without picking up a project at all. And then I would knit like 3 rows and I'd be like, I can't sit here and concentrate on this. I gotta go do something else. So I'm really happy to have that back. It improves my quality of life. And the other thing is like mental health bias. I've said on here a lot of like, go ahead, be chronically ill. You'll start to need therapy. Like, being chronically ill is a cause of depression. So if you weren't depressed prior to being chronically ill, you will be after you're chronically ill for a few years. And I felt that shift of like, well, we're just treating your mental health, and if your mental health gets better, your health will get better. And I'm like, no, actually, if we treat my health, my mental health will improve, because I have enjoyment in life, right? Outside of being sick, which depresses me. I knit, I write, I do all these other things that I do enjoy. I'm not like depressed about life, I'm depressed about illness. So we changed tack on that as well. And those changes have really helped. And then after a couple of weeks of having those changes, I got back into like, you know, I'd really like to podcast again, from being in this place where it's like, I don't even want to log into Instagram because somebody might message me, and I don't think I can deal with them messaging me about crafting, because I'm so incapable of crafting right now, and I feel like I'm letting people down. And I realize that you guys don't really care if I get back on here. Like, that's not a life or death situation, but like, it's my hobby and I want to be able to enjoy it. So if I can't enjoy it, that's stressful to me. So I am glad to be back in that space where I feel like I can do that. Now, if the world could just get on board with being inclusive and not being dicks, I would be so thrilled. You know, I would like my rights back. I would like to not feel like I have a target on my back. In other news, it's really nice outside, you guys. Fall has arrived. It is sweater weather, and I'm like, yeah, so excited. I mean, we still have gotten a few days where it's been in the 90s. Which, it's the middle of September. Really should not be in the 90s here. But it's, what is it today? Like 70 something? 71, which is like 22 Celsius. There's been several days where it's been nice and in the 60s, and then a few days where it's been in the 80s, a few days where it's been in the 90s, but like, we're solidly headed into fall. I'm confident in saying that, and I'm so excited. I busted out all my knits and give them a fluff. A few of them have some fold lines because I don't hang my knits. I don't want to stretch them. So I have them all folded on a shelf. I wonder if I can show you. Let me just try and show you. It's really messy right now because I just pulled them all out and folded them and fluffed them. But let's see if I can. There we go. Boop, 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 boop. So yeah, have them all up there. And now my camera's gonna be all wonky. And that's a case of should have just not messed with the tripod, but whatever, it's good now. I pulled them all out, I fluffed them, but like I fold them, and I had some fold lines on some of them, especially the ones that were like on the bottom of the stack. So I don't know, like shawls, sometimes I roll them. Maybe I need to roll my sweaters, but then I was like, well, they still have a fold down the middle, and like, there's not an ideal way to store knits, I think, is just the end of it. Like, do you want to hang them? Hang them. Do you want to fold them? Fold them. Do you want to roll them? Roll them. Like, you're going to have a fold line somewhere if you leave your knits sitting for 6 months. That's all it comes down to. But I pulled them out. I fluffed them. I think I've worn 3 separate knit shirts in the last week. Like, it's not sweater weather yet, don't get me wrong, but it's short sleeve sweater weather, and I'm excited. I am drinking a collagen coffee. I'm not like on the collagen trend because it's trendy, but I don't eat enough, which sounds funny for being fat, but you can absolutely be fat and be malnourished. And I really only eat about 1 to 1.5 meals a day, and they're not big, and they're not like high calorie, and that's not enough protein, guys. And when your protein gets really low, your skin breaks down. So I'm very prone to like pressure sores, or even like if I just get like a bug bite or any kind of wound, like it takes forever to heal. I have a freaking bug bite on my leg that I got August 1st. It's been like 6 weeks. It got infected, and it still has a scab. Like, it got infected, infection got healed up within like a week, but like it's still lingering because I just can't heal a wound because I don't have enough protein. So collagen is pure protein, and it is a complete protein. So I was doing a protein bar with my coffee in the morning, and then a meal for lunch / dinner around 3. And then a protein bar for dinner, and then maybe sometimes like a half a meal for dinner, late snack. And by late snack, I mean like 3-ish, 4-ish hours before you go to bed. But frankly, guys, protein bars are gross. I'm one of those people who can really taste the whey. And so I was just looking for a way to mix it up. And somebody had suggested like protein hot chocolate like you use after gastric bypass. And I looked and looked and looked and looked, and I don't want to buy like a 2-pound thing of something without tasting it first, make sure it's not gross, because a lot of them are. And the hot chocolates came in individual packets, and I don't know. I still might try the hot chocolates, but I did find Vital Proteins chocolate? No, cocoa? I think it's cocoa. Anyway, it was just like a 13-ounce tub at Walgreens, and it was like $26, and I thought, I'll try it. Because it's 19 grams of protein in 2 scoops, and I can mix it with my coffee. They also had a creamer one that was only 10 grams of protein, but had dried coconut milk and no stevia in it, and I think actually that might be what I try next time. It'll be less protein, but I really can't hack the taste of stevia, like fake sweeteners in general. It doesn't need to be sweetened at all, guys. It's chocolate. Just, I'm fine with raw cocoa. So if you know of a collagen powder that is not sweetened with like fake sweetener or real sweetener, I mean, I'd rather have real sweetener than fake, but I'd really rather have neither, and is like a chocolate flavor or like an espresso or mocha flavor, let me know. Anyway, I've been mixing it with my coffee. It does have a really stevia aftertaste, so I add like a shot of caramel or something to it to kind of like cover that up. But it works. I can have a whole coffee. It's 19 grams of protein, and my protein's going up. So that's good. I'm out of the abnormal. And it's easy to do. So that's what I'm having to drink. That's the weather. What am I wearing? I am wearing the Lapis by Yamagara. I always want to call her Yamagara Knits, but that's totally not her name. So that you can see this in all of its glory. This is a crop top. These are very high-waisted. This is my belly button. And this is, like, yeah, like that's my belly button. These are some high-waisted Petra pants that I made. They're more like culottes, really. From Closet Core with super sale fabric from Mood Fabric. It was on sale for like $3.99 or $4.99 a yard. It's just a Italian suiting, stretch polyester, pinstripe. Anyway, yeah, I love this top. It's so much fun. I made this in Lola Beans Calming and a word that I can't remember or pronounce even when I could remember it, by La Bien Ami. I got these in the Netherlands when I was visiting Amsterdam with my friends, so I have lots of great memories with this. It's got this cool, whoa, that's a bad idea, I'm gonna fall. This cool chevron lace, and then the ribbing like comes out of that chevron lace. It's a bottom up. I should really be sitting down or holding on to my cane. It's a bottom up, which this is the first time I've done a bottom up. You do a professional cast on bottom up and then you do the ribbing down. I liked it, it was fine. I did very minimal alterations to the pattern. I added 6 extra rows on each side at the top. So for a total of 12, which is probably about an inch. Of each shoulder. One, I wanted to add just a little bit of length, but mostly I have a big wing and I wanted to make sure that it like went over my wing well and that I didn't feel like, because it's a drop shoulder, like, you know, I didn't want to feel restricted there. So I kind of wanted to make sure. She does give you the option to add length here instead, and I was like, no, I want to add the length under my arms, thanks. And then the ribbing, she calls for, she calls for, I guess the downer might fall on my face. She calls for 1.5 inches, and I did 2.5, I think, from the top of the points there, because two things. I like the look of a longer ribbing, and I don't mind ribbing like as an action, and I wanted again to add just a little bit of length because they knew I was gonna wear it with high-waisted pants, but I don't want my belly hanging out. Now that said, I did take a picture with just jeans, and like, you guys, super cute. I'll pop it in here. I had it on Instagram. I feel like I look like I did when I was, I don't know, 20, back at a time when I could have rocked that outfit great. I would never wear it out of the house like that because it looks great when I'm standing like that, but let me tell you, if I like sit down, you're gonna have a roll hanging out. But it is, I mean, if you're young and you haven't gotten like untoned yet, like I'm untoned now. Do you know what I mean? Like even in my 20s, I was a big girl, but I was very toned and in shape, and like I did a very physical job. So even though I had like a thick body, if I sat, I didn't get like jelly rolls. I got like, I had one top belly. It was just very big. I could have totally rocked that as a fat girl back in the day, but I don't think I can now. So it's a great pattern. I loved it. It would have been the fastest damn knit if I hadn't been on a medication that totally made concentration impossible. Grand total time that I put into it was probably 2 weeks. It just had like a 6-week separation in the middle of those 2 weeks, 1 week to start, 1 week to finish. And it didn't take very much yarn at all. I started with 3 skeins. I ended with 50 grams of one of the blue left and 40 grams of this. So it took me 160 grams of the, that's the wrong word, of the gray and 50 grams of the contrast color, which I made a size 4. I think the sizing is 1 through 6 or 1 through 5. I don't remember. So I was like in the middle, but on the larger side of the middle. And I could have made a 4 or a 5, and I chose to make a 4 because this is a big positive ease pattern. My chest when I started this was a 53, now it's a 52. And the pattern is a 66 and a quarter, or 66 and 6 3/4 or something like that. And the next size up was like 76 or something. I don't remember. I shouldn't use that number because I don't know. But anyway, it was quite a bit bigger. It would have added like 6 inches more, and I didn't want it that big. And I'm happy with that. Like, if you look at her pattern, hers is very pulled down and slouched like this. And if I had done the next size up, that's how it would fit me. And I do think that would look okay. But I enjoy the way that it fits right now very much. So I'm very happy with that. I had thought maybe the waist would be too small because the waist was 47, and I was like, you know, I think my waist is like a 50. Guess what? When you lose 26 pounds of edema, you lose some out of your, like, part of that was abdominal edema. A lot of it was facial, a lot of it was legs, and part of it was abdominal. I even lost an inch off my bust. That said, I didn't lose shit off my hips. Like, I didn't lose any actual fat. That was all water. So it fits great. And I've lost an inch off my bust. I really haven't changed what size I knit. I started a new pattern and I debated, do I go down a size, because I was always kind of like right on that edge. No, I'm still knitting the same size that I would have knit before, and I think it'll be fine. I'll have an extra inch of ease. So that's what I'm wearing. Anything else about that? I really didn't change very much about it. And yeah, no, I just really love it. It's great. It's so great. I've worn this like 4 times now. All right. That's what I'm wearing. I forgot to do admin. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to record admin real quick, and then we'll come back. Okay, so this is like my one and only knitting FO. I do have a bunch of sewing FOs because when I could not knit, because I could not concentrate for shit, I could sew because it's so many small individual steps where you like stop and look at the pattern, go back, stop, look at the pattern. Even if you're not sewing by a pattern, like you're just like, I'm gonna do this seam and then I'm gonna iron it, and then I'm gonna do this seam, and then like it was very small step-ish of me, and so I could do that. So I have a few things. Like I said, I'm not gonna go massively in detail on this stuff. If you have questions, feel free to ask below and I will answer them. I have a cielo top. This is a closet core pattern, and this is in a fabric that I got from Stevie St. Fabrics on Etsy. I really like it. It's nice and thin. Can wear it when it's 100 degrees outside, which is really, really super handy. Also, I just happen to like the citrus. It's fun. If you know, you know. And then I made some dino pants, which are the same pattern that I'm wearing, but I made the full length tapered leg version, and they a bit big. And when I say they a bit big, I mean when I first finished them, they were fucking huge. That is what happens when you measure your size and you make a working muslin. These are kind of a working muslin. They were just huge. I don't know. I even measured the finished measurements and they still added up to the finished measurements of the size that I was making. But I used a stretch fabric and the pattern didn't per se call for that, which was fine. I just needed to adjust for it more than what I did. And also when I put in the elastic waistband, I think I stretched not just the elastic, but also the fabric by accident. So the waistband came out huge. Anyway, so I went back, I revisited them. I took out a bunch out of the side seams, the inseams. I pulled up the crotch. I shortened the waistband. I did a bunch of things. And they fit now pretty good. I do feel like they're not a perfect fit as far as like the knees and stuff, because I needed to move the knees. I'm shorter than average, which is totally fine. I mean, that's totally fine, right? Like, that's why you make a working muslin, which is why my purple ones fit perfectly, because I made a working muslin. So I did do like some Hong Kong seam in here and then just some regular zigzag. I don't have an overlocker or anything, you guys. I seriously just have a white sewing machine from the 1990s when Viking bought out white for a hot minute. Cost me like $99 brand new. And that's that. It's nothing special. It's all mechanical. And it suits me just fine. Anyway, I did really love the fabric. This came from Mood Fabrics as well. It's like little baby dinos. I might buy some more of this fabric and make a different pattern as a final piece. Like use a different, make a mock-up in a different, I don't know. I can't talk, you guys. I would like them as a final pant, but not that pant. Then I have the ones that I'm wearing. Which I would love to show you, which means I'm gonna need to angle the camera down, because in my head I just thought I could just stand on the chair and show you. Nah, it's a terrible idea. I will fall and then I will like make myself bleed. Let's do this in a way less likely to kill me. How about that? So these are my second Petra pants, and they're not really pants. They are more like culottes. They come just a little bit below my knee. They fit really good. They have an elastic back. I like them. Also, the purple fabric is off of Mood. It was on super sale. And then I have this, which I really adore, you guys. This is an Ellie and Mac pattern, the basic or classic cami and dress. And I modified it just a tiny bit to make the back a crisscross, and that's all. Super drapey rayon that I got at the Confidence Stitch in Missoula. It was part of a bunch of birthday present fabric that my friend got me. That is another top that I have worn the schnit out of this summer. So I'm really enjoying the way the sewing complements the knitting in being able to wear it on the days when it's too hot to wear the knitting, because there are just times when it is 104 and it is too hot to wear the knitting. And there are sewing pieces that I just feel like really complement the knitting. Like I have my camera is off. I have a really hard time finding high-waisted pants, for instance, that I feel like I can actually sit and move and breathe in, and so like the ability to make those myself is nice. I don't have a ton of sewing experience, you guys. I quilted in my early 20s, late teens for like 5 years. I don't even remember. And I used to make my own scrub tops and pants, which literally have like patch pockets, and the most complicated thing on a scrub top is the V-neck. So it's not like I have massive skills. Yeah, I've done a curved seam on a quilt before, like a half sun quilt or something like that, but I'm not rocking it. I didn't know what a French seam was. My husband bought me Closet Core's like basic learn to sew pattern set and classes for my birthday for $60 or $70, which had 3 patterns, a shirt, a skirt, and the pants, and all these like how-tos. Great, perfect. Like, it taught me things I didn't know how to do, like how to install a zipper, and then it refreshed me on stuff that I already knew how to do, like how to zigzag. So it's fun, it's been fun, and I'll continue to do that, but it's not going to be like the main focus of the blog. So moving on, I really only have 1 work in progress right now. I actually have 3. I have 2 socks, which you've seen way back, like 3 or 4 episodes, 3 episodes ago, which at this point was the beginning of freaking summer. But I haven't picked those back up to work on those yet because I'm having fun with the thing that I'm working on right now, which is I signed up for Hohi's Fall Knit Along. You guys know I love Hohi. Wonderful designer, beautiful patterns, fits a chunky girl good. So in my gamer bag, I have, without dumping all my needles, a whole swath. Totally gonna dump my needles everywhere. This is not gonna work. Anyway, you can't see, but I have a whole swath of Farmer's Daughter Fibers yarns, because I collected for this sweater. I'm making this Susurrus. Yeah, that's right. And I saw this a year or 2, I think 2 ago in a pom-pom, and I wanted it and wanted it bad. I don't want anything else out of that pom-pom. To buy a pom-pom just for 1 sweater. I want to say recipe, but that's not it. Pattern. And then I was like, I want to make this all in Farmer's Daughters. And it's going to be like the most expensive sweater I've ever made. And I don't have the money for that, which I don't. And I still don't. So what I did is every year for Christmas, a family member gives me typically $100. So for the last 2 Christmases, I have taken that money and I have spent it exclusively on the yarn for this sweater. And then with my tax return money, I bought the very last bit of it. So I have, and this is in a yarn cozy from Sue, Crafty Knitter Sue. I'm trying to think of the name of her business and I can't. I'm sorry, Sue. A Tangled Skein CA. Guys, if any of you have a brain that you would just like to loan me once in a while so I can podcast, that would be great. Me and my speech therapist have talked about why I'm not podcasting, and he's like, just break it up into days, and I'm like, that's even more work. This is Sukapi and Horse Belly, and this is a single non-superwash rambouillet that is serving as my whole double with my lace strand for the collar and the cuffs and the hem. And then we have the most green thing ever, which I love. This is Foxy Lady, which is a single 70/30 merino silk, which is what, I mean, a single is what's recommended by the pattern. I'm going to try and pronounce it You guys, just forgive the aphasia here. It's in the color Kinnick, I think, which is a Blackfoot word for a specific plant called bearberry or bear leaf, bear something. Anyway, and then I have this fluffy goodness. Oh yeah, there we go. That's good. This is Oh Dang, which is their Sweary alpaca base. And it is in the color Legends of the Little People, which is usually, admittedly, a little bit more green and not quite so yellow toned, but whatever. All of my skeins match, and that is like, that's the thing about hand-dyed yarn, you guys, is you get what you get, and that's why you get it all out of one lot. When I got it, I was a little bit like, that is absolutely not quite like the color on the website. And I'd been looking at this for a couple of years. This was something that I knew I wanted even before I knew the sweater that I wanted to make out of it. And so I was like, but I thought, you know, I could call them and see if they will switch it out for 3 that are more green toned and less yellow toned. But then I thought, you know, I'm just gonna hold on to it and wait and see. Maybe the Kinnick will match it better than I think. And I got the green and I was like, it still looks pretty yellow. But then I put the 2 together, and you know what? They look great. I'm not worried about it at all. I'm glad that I didn't panic and go, but the ones on the website look more green. Because I'm really happy. I dropped a stitch in alpaca, hang on. Because I'm really happy with how it's coming out. So, this is the start of my Susurrus. There we go. I'm loving it. The lace repeat is very short, so I can actually manage it with my not very cooperative brain right now. It's only 8 long. I can do 8. And at first, I actually ordered a second, so that I ordered the horse belly because I knew that it would match the brown that are in the Legends of the Little People, and I ordered it on Sukapi, which takes it differently because it's non-superwash, right? So then I was like, I don't know, I can't decide, right? So I actually also ordered separately a Foxy Lady in Elk Antler, which is another one of their beiges. And I just want to show you, because I was like, well, it kind of looks kind of dark. And I just want to show you. In the end, I chose to stay with the horse belly because, so these are the speckles that I'm matching, and they really do match this really well, right? Whereas if I put those right next to this one, they suddenly look red. So I am really content with my original choice, and now I have a skein of Foxy Lady that I will use in something. I'm not concerned about that at all. I have a lot of Farmer's Daughter yarns. I would easily say that if you go through my stash, you will find that it is a lot of Farmer's Daughter and a lot of Undercover Otter, because those are my 2 favorite dyers. I am a little I am a little loyal to the dyers that I like. So I'm really happy though with the way that it's coming out. I love it. And I can't wait to kind of block it out and see how this lace looks blocked. It's gonna be so great. Also, I noticed that it's like super ruffly. That's because of the lace, and I have it on a much smaller needle than what I need it on, right? Because I knit faster that way. I did put it on a bigger needle, like a 50-inch cable, so that I could see if that was gonna like stay that. It doesn't. It's fine. I looked at other people's like in progress photos and I was like, does theirs do that? Maybe I screwed up my needle size, because Hohi Locatelli's somebody whom I always end up going up a couple of needle sizes on. I believe that most of the knitting she does continental, and I'm an English style, and I'm just much tighter. And so this is supposed to be knit on a 2 and a 3, and I started it on a 2, and I kind of wish I had gone up for the ribbing as well. I thought about it, and then I was like, no, you know, I feel like my neck ribbing always stretches out. I'm gonna stick with that. And it was really tight because it is the Sukapi held with the alpaca. But I mean, it is already stretching out, so I'm fine with it now. But I'm knitting on a 5. And I am getting gauge. If anything, I'm knitting a smidge under gauge, but that's okay because I'm knitting the size 7, which is a 57 3/4 inch bust, and I have a 52-inch bust. So if I end up being like 1 inch under, it'll be fine. I'm not like a whole stitch under on my gauge, or even a half stitch under. You guys know what I mean, because like a whole stitch under on your gauge, that will change your sweater about a whole size. So I'm super excited to be doing this. This is the first time I've done a knit along, one of Hohi's knit alongs, and it just kind of spurred me to be like, you know what? Yeah, now is the time to do this. I have all the yarn that I want for it. I have been waiting to make this. This has been my goals sweater for almost 2 years now. And you know what? It is time to make the really expensive sweater. Not because before I thought like I didn't have the skills. Hang on, I gotta let my dog out. Sorry about that. If any of you have dogs or various other animals that go potty outside, you very much know that look of, I'm gonna shit on your floor if you don't take me out right now. Somebody had that moment. Why are you vibrating? It was a true emergency. True emergency. Somebody had too many, well, not too many, one treat yesterday, but it was a very large treat, and I didn't sit with her very well. It's probably too much info. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So, not that I didn't think that I had the skill to make this before at all. More like I was saving it as a treat for myself. And because I do not typically spend $230 on yarn for one sweater. I am much more of a like middle of the road girl. Like I love to spend $30 on a skein of sock yarn. Absolutely, 100%. But sweaters, I tend to be more like, let's make a fingering weight sweater. That way I only have to buy 3 skeins or 4 skeins. Right? And this is like a 7 skein sweater. So, this is why I don't make DK sweaters or worsted weight sweaters typically, because those things take 6 to 10 skeins for somebody my size. And yeah, guess what? A DK skein is still $28, or a worsted weight skein is still $28. I mean, the difference between 4 $30 skeins at $120 and 8 or 10 $30 skeins, which would be like $300 and some plus shipping, right, is a lot. That worsted or whatever sweater for me is going to be like 3 times as much as whatever. So that's part of why I knit fingering. The other part is that I like fingering that it just looks finer to me. And so I enjoy that look. I find it really entertaining when, and to each their own, but I find it really entertaining when I hear other knitters who are knitting like a size 2 or a 3 talking about how tiny their needles are and how many stitches and how much knitting it is to like knit a fingering weight, you know, size 2 or 3, you know, flax light. And I'm like, there are 500, almost 472 stitches on this right now. That's norm. I like small needles. I'm used to knitting that many stitches around. It doesn't seem like that much knitting to me, and I just find it so funny. I'm like, that does not equate with my experience at all. It's hilarious. I mean, they're talking about knitting, you know, a chunky weight or a worsted weight, Felix say, which I think is an errand, but they're talking about knitting that, and you know, in like a size 1 or a 2 or a 3, and you know, it's got like, I don't even know how many stitches around, and I'm like, that just sounds like a baby sweater to me, because I would be knitting a fingering weight baby sweater and it would have that many stitches. So it's funny. But that is my Susurrus All in Farmer's Daughter, all in greens. It's like my dream sweater. Also, I had never knit with Sweary alpaca lace before. I love alpaca in general to knit with. Yeah, I will probably never knit with mohair again because I'm not a very big mohair fan, which you all know. And the difference is so amazing, and you know, I'm never going back. I also refilled my coffee when she went potty, because I was getting a dry mouth. So that is my work in progress. I did put in for a test knit for a pair of socks, which I think I'll knit for me if I get in. And then I have the 2 socks on the needles, which I've been itching to pick back up. Like, I'm not knitting them because I don't want to knit them. I'm not knitting them because I'm having so much fun with this knit along, and it came out perfect. Kohi gives such a long lead time on her knit alongs, and the way that she has you sign up for them works just really good for me, because maybe it wouldn't have before, but right now it does, like with my brain and needing to like make a list and do things ahead of time. And it was like, you're gonna sign up from this week to this week, and then we're not even gonna start the knit along for another 2 weeks. And I know that they do that because her and all of her moderators need time to sort things out. But for me, it was like, I can plan that I'm gonna do it, and then that's gonna give me 2 weeks to clear this off my needles, which I did, to wind up the yarn, pick out my bag, although we all know that my gamer bag is gonna be my sweater bag. I really need to order a couple more sweater bags. But I say that and I like immediately know in my head that I would just go to Knotty Knitting Sacks and be like, can I custom order another sweater bag? So it's almost pointless. I say almost. Not completely pointless, just almost. It would mean that I could have 2 sweaters on the needle at once. It just worked out so well, and I didn't feel like rushed. Plus it goes for 3 months, and usually for me 6 to 8 weeks is perfectly acceptable time to knit a fingering weight sweater. But this has lace, it has mohair, and not mohair, but alpaca, and I knit that slower. And also my brain is just fried, and so I was like, 3 weeks or 3 months sounds like a glorious timeline that I can meet. So it just, the stars aligned, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do it. This is gonna be my reward for, like, I don't know, I wouldn't say conquering aphasia or conquering memory problems, but accepting that they're there. I do almost really want to cast on another sweater too, in at like a larger needle size, because those take me so much longer because the bigger needles make my hands hurt. And I'm very torn between doing my winter garden in the fruit chef yarn that I dyed or doing my Illimani big fluffy sweater. So I might at some point add that into the mix. Okay. I think that is it for the knitting slash sewing slash crafting. Now we're into acquisitions. I do have quite a chunk of acquisitions because it was my birthday, and so I got many gifts from wonderful people. And so I will go through those, and then I bought myself a few tiny things. So let's start with something I got myself. This is a French curve. For those of you who don't sew, it's used for like creating the curve of like an arm side, or like if you're doing a rounded hem or anything like that, it just gives you a nice curve if you're grading between sizes and things like that. And a French curve in the store runs $15 to $20. Same thing with a hip curve, which I do need to get. And they're really boring and ugly. And I thought, you know, knitting people are all over this like laser cutting trend. So I wonder if sewing people are too. And I found Seams and Laser Beams online, and they sell all kinds of sewing accoutrement laser cut out of acrylic. So I got myself that, and it was definitely cheaper than buying it in the store. So I was very pleased with that. My camera is blinking at me, and that's so annoying. And then I have gifts and fun stuff. So my friend came out to visit, which you all knew. They brought me all kinds of fun stuff. They brought me this gigantic patch, which I'm gonna put on my scooter bag. It's technically iron-on, but I think I'll sew it on. And they got me a bunch of stickers, a few of which I will show you the yarny ones. Maybe if I can get a hold of them. Boop, boop. I'd rather be knitting, and like the little black shape with the rainbow lock. They got me some sewing stuff, some Kylie in the Machine labels that are like more specific to sewing. Like that one, and just general ones. And they got me a bunch of fabric, some of which, oh shoot, I totally just realized I didn't show you one of my FOs, which was a birthday gift fabric, because it's in the wash. I will try and pop a picture in. So these are like ultra nice quilting type cottons. They're not cotton lawn, but I mean more almost like a cotton poplin. And same with this one. And then this one really is kind of just like a quilting cotton. But I love it, and I'm sure that I can do like a button-up shirt and or a skirt. Am I holding it upside down? I am. Out of it. And I just think it would be like a suit. Like this is going to be a super wild button-up shirt, like kind of like cap sleeve style. I already have a pattern picked out for that. Can't you tell? And then she took me dyeing yarn, and we went to Mountain Colors, which I've bought Mountain Colors yarn before. You know that. They're a local Montana dyer. And they do this new dye experience, and we went out there and did that, where you get to dye 2 skeins of yarn with them, and it was so much fun, you guys. Like, they walk you through like how to pick out a color palette, and then they had some dyes pre-mixed, but like any color that we wanted they could also just whip up for us. And we could pick from any of the yarn bases. And I kind of already knew which one I wanted, but that was okay. And then also they had a sock blank, and so I totally did a sock blank. So this is my sock blank. I have to unwind it because like a tiny, tiny bit of it was unraveled, and so oh yeah. I freaking love it. This was fun. And then I've never knit from a sock blank before, but I think I might. First I was totally gonna knit socks, right? And then I was like, actually it's this one big long gradient. So an even funner part might be to knit the gradient top of a sweater, like either a colorwork sweater, or I'm thinking like that Sinister Cat sweater would be really fun. Okay, and then I wanted to do their new fingering tweed. You guys know I love tweeds, and you know I love fingering, so I did their new fingering tweed, and I don't even remember. I have somewhere the picture that I based it off of, but my idea was almost like a mallard duck. If you've ever seen the head of a mallard duck, I'll try and pop one in here. And I feel like I did pretty decent. So this is 460 yards or whatever per thing. That's enough for me to make a tank top out of if I wanted. Or even something like this I could do out of it. So I do think I will probably try to make this into some form of a garment. I thought about getting an extra skein and just like having enough to do a sweater, but in the end I was like, nah, I think two's good, and then I'll still be able to work it into something. And then my friend also bought me a just a skein of, what is this? Peppergrass. And this is just their Kenyan Sport, and I do enjoy a good sport. I think I might make I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts on this. This is 100% merino. And then Aiden from Undercover Otter sent the price for the inclusion mail, and I'm sorry for all the ums, you guys. And with it they sent some cool stuff, one of which was a needle minder, which I absolutely am using for sewing pins, because why not? It sticks right to the top of my sewing machine, because my sewing machine's all metal because it's old. And then they sent more yarn than they ever needed to send, which was awesome. And they were like, well, if it finds its way into your stash. So I got some, can't tell they know what I like, can you? Yellow and green and purple. So I got all kinds of fun stuff there. And we have May Queen, Gorgon, which I love Gorgon, and Peeping Tom, which I'm really in love with. So I got those. So I actually got way more shit than that for my birthday, you guys, but like I've been using it and stuff spread around, and I literally can't remember. We went and sifted for sapphires, so we made a necklace full of raw sapphires. There we go. Which is really cool. And then it's got some dried wildflower petals in it. just all sorts of fun things. My friend bought the journal that I'm using. So it was good. Don't give me like, I'm like, oh my God, you know, my health is falling apart and I feel super unwelcome in the community, but like, I feel very welcomed by my friends. Don't get me wrong. And I feel very loved and very lucky. And, we had so much fun. We went over to the western half of the state for 2 days. We stayed in a cabin. I took my scooter. I scooted around downtown Missoula. We went to a rock shop. We went to lunch. We went to the tea store, like Missoula tea that I'm always drinking on here. Like, oh, I didn't even show you guys that. I got a shit ton of tea. And you'll see all kinds of new teas on here now. That was super fun. And we went to the Confident Stitch, which is a great fabric store there that has a lot of clothing fabric as well as quilting fabric, because it's not that easy to find clothing fabric. Surprise, surprise. It has been fun. So don't get me wrong. Okay. So that's my like bits of acquisitions. Podcasts, you guys, I didn't watch podcasts for like 5 weeks, 6 weeks. Just in the last week, I've slowly been back watching a few people. And by a few people, I mean like 4 people. And my subscriber, like that I've subscribed to podcast list is probably 100 long. So, I don't know that I will in any way be able to catch up on everybody that I missed, but I'm going to return to watching them from here on out. And if I make it to those back episodes, great. And if I don't, I'm very sorry if I missed something. And thank you if there was a random mention of me or something like that. I do love all your podcasts, but the brain was not there and the mind was not there. And hopefully it's back now. And then, so because of that, I don't really have any podcast recommendations to make, unfortunately. Same thing with reading. I've not read any fan fiction, even I haven't read anything. I will say I did put 2 books on hold on Libby. And I don't remember the name of them. I only remember the name of one of them. And the one that I remember the name of is Our Wives Under the Sea. And it was a recommendation from Tommy from Dynamite Trujillo. And she started off by saying it was a Lovecraftian, gothic, sapphic, slate body horror novel. And I was like, sold! And then she went like, she does these great book reviews, like once a month, where she reviews all the books that she's read in the month, and I fucking love them. So there's my podcast rec. I'm sure every single one of you has already like been made aware of Tommy, but she's the dyer from Moonstone Makes, and she has awesome podcasts. Anyway, so I put 2 books from her review on hold. And this is definitely not the first time that I've gotten to read a book she's reviewed. And so maybe you can read it too. Maybe you'll enjoy it. We'll read it together. I don't know. I'm interested. It sounds a lot like The Sphere, only with like a modern twist. I don't know. We'll see. So that's what I have for that. Lastly, in sad news, I did have to put Granny down. I know that some of you may have suspected already because I only had 1 doggy at the beginning. And I am very sad about that. I'm not really ready to talk about it or anything. I did know that it was going to happen. And we even planned for the day a couple of weeks in advance, and did a bunch of things prior to. So she was a very old dog and her health was failing, and Our vet was very wonderful and is the vet that she has been seeing for a very long time. So I think things went beautifully. And in the spring, I think we'll probably put a tree in the backyard and bury her ashes under it. I'm getting a biodegradable urn. But yeah, so just to know that is why she is no longer on the podcast, but I'm not up for talking about it or any of that because it will really upset me. So I appreciate your love and thoughts, but I'm good. Other than that, if you came back to me, thank you. If you're new, oh my god, welcome to this shit show. This is probably I would say this is not an ideal one to have started on, but this is kind of just how it is. So hopefully I'll be back. You know, I'm not going to put a timer on it. If it's 2 weeks, it's 2 weeks. If it's 3 weeks, it's 3 weeks. I don't care. As far as the giveaway, I will leave it open for at minimum 2 weeks. Because sometimes people don't watch these right away. At minimum 2 weeks, maybe up until I record next. We'll see. And then I will draw and I will announce the winner on the next podcast, whenever that is. And then we will get the pattern to you. So that's what I've got, you guys. Hopefully you're happy to see me. If you're not, you didn't watch this, so it doesn't matter. Until next time, everybody have a great morning, afternoon, evening, or night, depending on what time zone you're in. And I hope that this podcast, at least, makes a welcoming space for you, for wherever and whoever you are. See you later.